An angle is created when two lines come together, and the distance between them is the angle. Each line of the angle is called an arm, and the point where the two arms meet is called the vertex. So the distance from one arm to the other is what is measured as the angle. To measure an angle, you use an instrument called a protractor, and it's usually just a small plastic semicircle like you see here. And it's important to note a couple of things about a protractor. First of all, along the bottom you'll see a line, and it's not right at the edge of the protractor, it's a little bit up from the edge, and it's really important to remember about that line. You'll also see that the protractor has two scales of numbers along the edge. One goes from 0 to 180 one way, and the other goes from 0 to 180 in the other direction. So depending if the angle opens to the right or opens to the left will determine which scale you use. But when you're measuring, always remember to start at the scale that starts at 0. In the very middle bottom is another point of intersection of two lines, and this point of a protractor is also really important to note. So if you're going to measure an angle with a protractor, first move the protractor so the bottom line is right along one of the arms of the angle. Then move the protractor so the vertex of the angle is right on that bottom center position of the protractor. And read the number on that scale. Now this one lies somewhere between 10 and 20, and it's a little bit closer to 20. And if you look at the little markings on the outside edge, you will be able to realize that it's about 18 degrees. Notice the little degree mark that indicates degrees. It's like a little circle beside the 18 to show 18 degrees. Angles are classified by how big they are. And an angle that looks like a square here is 90 degrees, and it's called a right angle, and it's exactly 90 degrees. An angle less than 90 degrees is called an acute angle. So anywhere between 0 and 90 will be an acute angle. An angle greater than 90 degrees is called an obtuse angle. An angle like this, which doesn't really look like an angle because it's exactly 180 degrees, is called a straight angle for obvious reasons. And an angle greater than 180 degrees is called a reflex angle. In order to draw an angle, you need a ruler and a protractor. So first, draw a straight line with your ruler. Then move your protractor so the center middle point of the protractor is right at one end of the line. And we're going to draw this line so it opens up to the left. So if we want to draw an angle that's 55 degrees, we put a little mark with our pencil between the 50 and 60 on the outside scale because we're starting from 0 and moving up to 55. Then remove your protractor and, using that mark as a guide, draw your line down to the end point of the other line you drew. And this is your 55-degree angle. You can measure it with your protractor just to be sure.